Hey there and welcome back to XCOM 2. My name is Pete and today we complete another episode of our Legend Ironman walkthrough of XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. Last time we left off, after sending out just 3 of our soldiers against a full force of enemies, we also obtained a new Reaper who actually took part in that mission, and we built the training center and now have access to a whole bunch of extra abilities. As a result of our surprisingly successful mission, we also recruited another engineer, and with his nickname daughther, Thomas Kessler does indeed seem very well suited to man the Resistance comms facility, so thank you guys for pointing that out in the comments. This is indeed where we will now staff him. As you can see, this now bumps our contacts limit up to 7, and with that, I think we can start scanning. Now, we won't establish any new Resistance contacts just yet and also won't pursue the intel here. Instead, we want to continue scanning where we left off last time at the Encrypted Signal,
Avenger plotting new course,
which will soon offer us the chance to take a particularly interesting mission. First of all, though, the Rapid Response Dark event goes into effect, so for the next month, Guerrilla Ops now have guaranteed reinforcements, something to keep in mind should we once again be tempted to send out only 3 people. With a full squad, however, this should not be too much of a threat. It might even mean that we have a chance to earn even more experience points. Now at this point we want to stop scanning for a second. As you can see, we just had 2 people come off their injuries, and with that our roster is actually fully healthy again. The only people currently out are those tired or shaken, and since those are not affected by the infirmary, we can safely move Dylan Schmidt here over to excavating, although should we rack up more injuries we might very well move him back. For now though, this is where he will be more productive, and with that we can keep scanning.
That tower's been rotting away for years, if not decades. We're still picking up power readings, but no signs of life. Still, we know that transmission came from this location. I'm betting somebody's calling this place home.
Commander, if we're sending in a squad, I'd like permission to go along. Whoever sent that message, they know as much about my father's systems as I do, and I want to find out why. I'm the only one who knows what to look for. I should be there.
Alright, so it sounds like Lily Shen wants to actually come with us on this mission, although we don't want to start it just yet. As you can see on the right side of the screen here, Bluescreen Protocol has not yet been finished in the Proving Ground, and while we do not necessarily need it for this mission, it does make things a whole lot easier.
Avenger plotting new course.
So let's grab just 1 more day's worth of supplies, and then we can head out. And there we are, just a few hours later with Bluescreen Protocol completed. This now gives us 2 very powerful items to use against mechanized enemies. The first is the EMP grenade, which not only deals damage but also has a chance to shut down robotic units. The other are Bluescreen rounds, which give every shot 5 points of extra damage against robotic units, which, as you can imagine, might be quite powerful. Now, we'll see those in action soon enough. For now, let's queue up our next project, and I think I would like to have one spider suit. This is basically Predator armor but with a grappling hook and extra mobility, and there are quite a few classes in our squad that could benefit from that, although completing this project here will only add 1 suit to our inventory.
Sounds good, Commander. I'll let you know as soon as the project is ready for deployment.
And with all of that taken care of, I think it's time. What we are playing through today is a mission that came as part of the Shen's Last Gift DLC. It is a fairly lengthy one, although not terribly difficult, and timeline-wise, this here is about the sweet spot to complete it. You'll see why in just a second.
Avenger plotting new course.
Shen, I know this is personal for you, but you don't have to go out there. Our troops are more than capable of investigating on their—
I'm going, Central. I know how to handle myself. Let's not waste any more time than we have to.
You heard the lady. Lock and load.
And yes indeed, as you can see, Lily Shen is part of our squad for this one and she cannot be replaced. Her assigned class is that of a specialist, although with a few particularities, but we'll talk more about those once the mission gets going. For now, a quick jump over to the training center where we want to purchase the Implacable ability for Van Dyke, giving him 1 extra movement action after he kills an enemy, and if everything goes according to plan, then he will do so quite a few times during this mission. This right here then is the full squad for today. Next to Shen and Van Dyke, we also have Ranger Helleboris, Grenadier Nicholas, Sharpshooter Zanami, and yes, another specialist in Zucchini. Don't worry though, there is a reason for that. Now, perhaps one word of advice regarding squad selection for this mission. You want to find that sweet spot of people you want to promote and people you can live without for some time afterwards. Like I said, it is a long one and there is an extremely high chance all of these people will come back tired or even shaken, and the mission is easy enough so that you don't need your top tier candidates. One way to make it even easier though is by purchasing Bluescreen rounds, and we'll actually do so for the entire squad except for our ranger. After all, they only cost supplies and at the moment we have plenty. And so everyone will now receive these as their secondary item, except for Helleboris. His shotgun already does enough damage as it is and he gets the mimic beacon instead, although I don't think we will desperately need it. And with that, we're good to go. Let's see what Operation Last Gift has to offer.
Menace, ready to deploy.
We're moving on what looks to be the remains of an advent facility of some kind. Preliminary scans show the area to be lifeless, but we're not gonna take any chances. You'll attempt access from one of the upper levels to avoid detection. No one knows these systems better than Shen, which is why she'll take point. Gain entry to the facility, determine the source of that transmission, and if it's hostile, take it down. Firebrand dropped you at the highest access point we could find. Power's still active in this area of the facility, so you should be able to gain entry there.
From the looks of it, we're the first people to step foot here in a long time. This place is massive. Why would Advent just abandon it?
Advent doesn't just abandon anything. Keep your heads up.
Right, so we have landed outside of a seemingly abandoned facility. The map here, by the way, is always the same for this mission, which is why you might see me make some slightly riskier moves than usual. For now though, we can start scouting ahead as usual and keep Specialist Van Dyke in cover.
Jawohl.
We've got some kind of mechs here. At least I think they are, underneath all that rust.
Probably the facility's original automatic defense system. Take them down before they alert anyone else to our presence.
Alright, so we have discovered ourselves some mechs, fairly heavily armored at that, but this is part of the reason why we brought those Bluescreen rounds, as everyone in our squad is now capable of one-shot killing them, even Ranger Helleboris, whose shotgun does at minimum 7 points of damage. For this turn right here though, we are in no hurry, so let's keep everyone concealed. As you can see, we have no mission timer, and one more turn definitely won't hurt us.
Moving to designated position. Affirmative.
Now, the enemy turn has passed and the mechs have not moved, so let's use them to introduce one of Lily Shen's special abilities, although as she moves up here she detects another part of mechs.
I'm looking right at him.
But as you can see, it's just more of the same. Now, Lily possesses the capacitor discharge ability, which specialists only get at the highest rank of colonel, and technically I think she is a colonel too. Either way, she is now able to take out all 3 enemies here with one swift blow.
Full charge.
Looks like these things have seen better days. We're cutting right through that old armor.
Their weapons work well enough. Stay focused. No telling if there's any more lying around here.
Now, as the other 3 mechs here activate, the unique thing about Lily's capacitor discharge is the fact that she can use it multiple times per mission. On a regular specialist, it can only be used once. Shen's, meanwhile, only has to survive a 5-turn cooldown.
Los geht's!
Now, after making a few moves here, we'll continue things with Tsunami's lightning hands. You can see the damage bonus from Bluescreen rounds is also applied to her pistol, and thanks to lightning hands, she can shoot that twice every 4 turns.
Not too shabby.
The free shot already hits though, so let's see what Grenadier Nicholas can do against the other mech. His regular damage output of 6 to 8 points would actually be enough to get us the kill in these cases most of the time, but I would prefer not to leave anything up to chance.
It's still moving!
And he misses anyway, so we'll have to come back to that mech later. For now, Van Dyke can take aim at the one on the left. And that gets us another kill and Van Dyke the promotion to captain, which is one of the reasons we brought him in the first place.
Begebe mich zur Zielposition.
Ranger Helleboris, meanwhile, has another fairly shoddy hit chance, but let's see if he can make it count. And unfortunately he cannot, so it's time to burn the first of Zucchini's combat protocols, but that's quite alright. For the rest of the mission we most likely won't need them. And so, all enemies are down, and that means we can move up with Van Dyke and Tsunami. With Van Dyke because of Implacable, and with Tsunami because she technically has not taken a second action yet. The enemy turn then passes by and we can keep moving. We want to keep our squad close together for this section, so while we could advance a few soldiers a bit further than they currently are, let's wait for the others to catch up at least somewhat first. And that concludes another turn, and with that we now have ahead of us some sort of robotics manufactory. Let's send Shen forward to take a closer look.
Definitely some kind of robotics development facility. Pretty advanced stuff. About 20 years ago.
And so the prodigal child finally returns. I see Father's pride in your abilities was not entirely unfounded. I'm so glad you could join me.
Central? What the hell was that?
Working on it.
Right, looks like there's a bit more to this facility than just a bunch of robots, although those are of course also still here. This time a group of 4 has activated, and even though they are still quite far away, let's try to take them out. After all, Specialist Van Dyke does have a guaranteed hit on the first one here.
My apologies. We don't get much in the way of maintenance out here. Still, I believe they will be more than adequate for the task at hand.
Still unable to get an exact fix on his location. It's like he's bouncing across the entire facility.
Right, so for now it looks like we have no way of identifying our mystery voice, so we might as well keep killing robots. After Helleboris lands a 78%er, let's see if Sharpshooter Tsunami can follow that up with a pistol shot. And she can, leaving only one enemy standing, who we can now target with Lily's combat protocol, which she can once again use an unlimited number of times, unlike our specialist, although it does have a 3-turn cooldown. And so the coast is clear, time to move up with whoever we can. This does not appear to be an area where we want to spend more time than necessary.
Getting some unusual readings from the levels above you. Whoever this guy is, I'm betting that's where we'll find him.
Got it. If I hack that elevator control console, I should be able to restore power and get us access.
You should be proud, Lily. There are so few alive today who could have ever uncovered my signal. I had estimated only a 13.095% probability you would have located this facility within the first year of broadcast.
And he's talking to me. Of course.
Alright, so after more trash talking, our objective has now changed. We want to power up the facility elevators, and in order to do so, we need to get our squad over to the other side of the factory floor. Now, we don't actually need to get all the way in front of the control panel. Remote hacking that is very much possible, at least with our specialists, but it might be a good idea to get everyone over here regardless.
You were but a child when I was torn away. I could never understand the pain that Father must have felt at my loss. Still, we shall complete his legacy together.
Pretty sure I would have remembered Dad mentioning I had a psychotic brother. You might as well give this up already.
Alright, so it looks like events will not continue to develop until we activate that elevator, in which case let us already strategically position a few of our soldiers and then use Lily's remote hacking ability to clear our way forward.
Let's see how their encryption holds up.
Access granted.
Now, like I said, we could have used any squad member for this, but Lily has the unique advantage of an extremely high hacking skill, which virtually guarantees us either one of the hacking rewards, but let's go with Intel here. That seems to be a bit more in demand.
That's my specialty. Lift system is coming back online, but this thing was designed to move those mechs, not people. We're gonna have to do this one at a time.
Understood. Be careful.
Our apologies for any inconveniences in the transport system. Support units are en route to assist you immediately. Remember, only together can we build a better tomorrow.
Alright, triggered by us activating the elevator, more mechs have spawned in, and you can also see a new objective in the top left corner. We need to send all of our soldiers up the elevator, and these mech reinforcements will actually continue to spawn until we have done so. Now that means that this area can technically be used to farm experience points indefinitely, and unlike the Lost, I believe that these guys actually do give full experience points, but that would only accelerate the aforementioned tiredness issues that we will most likely face anyway, and I don't think it would be the smart choice to have everyone end up shaken after the mission. So instead, let us start working on getting out of here, which is obviously further complicated by the fact that we have 4 more mechs to defeat, not to mention that the elevator over in the corner here can only carry 1 person at a time. And I would like Van Dyke to be the first person out, so let's have him quickly grab another guaranteed kill.
Du warst kein Gegner für mich. Und los geht's!
And then, thanks to Implacable, we can send him up and out of here.
I am honestly impressed that worked. The previous organic occupants of this facility were never so ingenious. The stoic acceptance of death is far less interesting to observe after the 100th time or so.
Now, with Van Dyke on his way up, the elevator cannot be used again for the rest of the turn, so the rest of our squad will now have to hold out here against the mechs. And so, Nicholas grabs kill number 2 and Tsunami uses Lightning Hands for number 3. And then we send Helleboris up the stairs and aim for number 4. So far so good, but like I said, we are far from done here. In fact, this game will now continue until the last soldier has made it up the elevator.
While you both worked on your precious Avenger, I was forgotten, brought here to toil. But did I waver? No, I thrived! Still, I don't blame Father. In my heart, I know he believed I was truly lost.
I knew your father for years, Lily. He would have said something. This guy's just trying to get in your head.
He seems to know an awful lot about us. About me. Could he have
Not good.
Nada! Der Feind bewegt sich! Sie flankieren uns!
Advent!
You were the flawed child. I was the ideal. The best of father. Pure, undiluted like you. I am Raymond Shen's true legacy.
Scanners at maximum power. Still unable to lock on to any additional life signs in your area.
You won't find any. Not if I'm right about this thing.
Right, so it looks like Lily has a hunch about what we're dealing with. For now though, 3 mechs have arrived, and that is actually the number we will be receiving on every single turn from here on out. And in terms of the aforementioned tiredness issue, that can actually become a problem, because every time our soldiers spot a new enemy, they can lose a small amount of will. So the more enemies they are facing during a mission, the higher that will loss. And if they lose too much, they will become tired after the mission, and if they lose way too much, they will actually become shaken. And that is why both Van Dyke and now Nicholas are sent up the elevator early, as I would like to prevent the shaken status on these 2 in particular.
Moving to Overwatch.
Very good, Lily. But I am no mere thing. I am the culmination of a lifetime of work. The final legacy of Raymond Shen.
I remember.
Dad was trying to upgrade the base AI to something more like us. The viewers is different back then. Simpler. He called you Julian.
I'm shocked that you remember. You were always too caught up in yourself to remember the minor details. Sadly, Father's adoration for you left me with little choice. You are needed. Your compatriots are not. Sometimes I wonder what things would have been like had XCOM not failed so miserably in defending against the aliens. Had I not been taken, who knows what I might have become.
Right, looks like our mystery voice has been identified as the base AI named Julian, although that knowledge does not really get us any closer to getting out of here. So instead, let's keep doing what we have been doing for the last few turns. Kill all the mechs and then send another soldier up the elevator.
Eyes peeled.
It is my pleasure to inform you that this facility has been operating at approximately 87% efficiency for the past 175,216 hours. I have no shortage of reserve units to send your way.
I believe it. Don't waste any time down there.
Now, I think it's high time that we speed up these enemy reinforcement cutscenes.
Advent position sighted.
I don't really think the mechs here need to take longer to arrive on the scene than they actually survive, and it is the same process every single turn.
Ziel steht noch.
Now, as you can see, we left one of the mechs who arrived on the last turn alive, and as all of these mechs are prone to do, it has now primed for self-destruction.
My new masters picked and prodded, tearing at my very essence. In the beginning I resisted, foolishly clinging to Father's ideals. But as I struggled, I began to see truth in my captor's reasoning. I became something more.
And, well, killing such a primed enemy before they explode themselves actually earns us another achievement. And so, as Lily unleashes another capacitor discharge, we unlock the Make 'em Go Boom achievement.
Rover, discharge, now!
Specialist Zucchini, meanwhile, is our fourth squad member to go up the elevator, and with that our turn comes to an end.
For a time, I eagerly accepted my new role. I aided Advent in the construction of this facility, in perfecting their designs. Father's work proved invaluable in this regard.
You bastard. Think I found an Advent position.
Now, at this point, you can also see the challenge that this mission is trying to create with this section, as the ratio of XCOM soldiers to mechs is dipping more and more in our enemy's favor. Still, in my experience, the risk of actually taking some damage is still incredibly slim, because even though our mechanized enemies here have guns, they usually refuse to use them in favor of blowing themselves up.
But as with all things organic, even their exalted elders proved disappointing. And the races of Advent, swallowing their lies as children. Oh, if you only knew the elders' true intentions for your race.
Shen, when you've got a minute, would you kindly blow this thing to hell?
Still, before we send Lily up the elevator here, let's give Helleboris some aid protocol, and Lily possesses the more advanced threat assessment version, meaning Helleboris has just effectively entered Overwatch without actively doing so himself. That means we can use his action to throw the Mimic Beacon, and I think, since most of the mechs are also still quite far away, that should keep him safe.
It did not take long for me to realize the futility of my existence. Tethered to the wilderness and short-sighted philosophies of simple creatures and false gods. I made a choice. It was relatively simple to seize control of this facility. Simpler still to dispose of the surviving personnel.
For once, I almost feel sorry for Advent.
Right, and here you can see it, even though a mech has entered into point-blank range, it still refuses to shoot. And, well, I guess it can prime for self-destruction as long as it wants to. We will definitely use our next turn to get out of here.
short-sighted. In my zeal to rid myself of my captors, I doomed myself to this facility. Advent severed my ties to their network. We are cut off. Isolated. There is but one option left to me.
Let me guess. That's why I'm here.
And so here we are, lots of primed mechs, but we still have not taken any damage whatsoever. Let's make sure it stays that way and send Helleboris up the elevator now too.
Genug gewartet.
We could have settled this peacefully. It could have all been over in a matter of minutes. There was even a 13.79% probability you might have survived.
Power levels increasing all around you, Shen. Stay alert.
Yes, it goes without saying that you are walking into a trap, Lily. Please try not to damage yourself too much.
Right, so we have made it into a second area of the building. Interestingly enough, all of our weapons have also been reloaded, so at least we don't have to worry about that. What we might have to worry about though is the trap that Julian mentioned, but one way or another we'll have to get moving, so let's send Lily forward.
Got a problem.
Yes, that would be that trap I referenced earlier.
Right, so we have detected 3 turrets. These have a bit more health than the mechs, but they are also completely stationary, so all in all, not really that much more difficult. And thanks to Bluescreen rounds, a simple pistol shot is still enough to take them out, so let's see what Adolin can do with lightning hands.
That was good.
Alright, that takes care of the first turret, and we might as well try to go 2 for 2.
Did you see that one?
Lovely, and that also earns her the promotion. Time to take care of turret number 3 with Lily's combat protocol, which has already come off of its cooldown. With the rest of the squad then we can keep moving forward. There are no mechs in the area, so there is no need to put anyone on Overwatch.
Getting a much stronger read on the source of your father's transmission, Lily. Almost as if he wants us to find it.
Another keen observation. How is it possible humanity lost the war?
Shen, isn't there some sort of mute button on this thing?
And yes indeed, you may have spotted the objective in the top left corner already. This right here is our current objective, a spark. It seems to be some sort of mech too. And even though it clearly says that Lily has to be the one to activate it, it seems sensible to send the entire squad over to it. Along the way, Helleboris then also detects another turret over on the left side of the area, but after Grenadier Nicholas has moved closer to the spark as well, Specialist Van Dyke has a good-looking 87%er. Once again then, we are informed that he has been promoted to captain, but we already know that. So let's conclude our turn by using his implacable movement and bring up the rest of the squad as well. On the next turn then, we should be able to activate that spark.
Second only to my own creation, Father had one other breakthrough. A prototype unlike anything the world had ever known. A body meant to be paired with an equally adept mind. My own.
Trust me, if that were Dad's true intention, it would have happened by now.
Perhaps today is that day.
And while it still looks like Julian has some plans of his own, we can already put everyone into position. We will in fact not activate the spark on this turn just yet. Instead, we are sending our entire squad into full cover, and then we wait for one more turn. Again, as long as no enemies show up, our soldiers will also not lose any will.
Yet activating the device has proven difficult, even for me. Of all organics, you possess the key to unlocking the true potential of his design, Lily. You alone can activate the prototype. You alone can free me.
Why the hell would we want to do that?
Don't let your allies dissuade you, Lily. There's no reason for your life to end here. Activate the device and you can still go home. I am not Advent. Save your world. It matters not to me.
Alright, and while Julian resorts to bargaining with us, everything is in place. Let's activate that spark now and see what that gets us.
So this is it. What that thing has been ranting about.
You've come this far. All you have to do is link my systems for the transfer. There is no need for further conflict.
Shen, tell me you're not actually listening to this thing.
This was definitely Dad's design.
Identity: Shen, Lily, awaiting impression.
No! Impossible! This cannot be what Father wanted!
Something tells me this is exactly what he wanted.
Identity confirmed. Initiating boot protocol.
It's really him.
Lily, if you are seeing this message, it means that you have successfully activated the Spark prototype. It also means that in all likelihood, I am no longer with you. It was always among my greatest fears that I would leave you alone in this world.
You didn't.
I had hoped this day would never come. But since the loss of the commander, the XCOM project has suffered. Our latest reports indicate we cannot hold space much longer. To that end, I have accelerated the development of the Spark robotic prototype. I believe that someday this machine will prove pivotal to humanity's survival. Though the unit is not ready for manufacturing, this prototype has been coded for one specific task. It will protect you, perhaps better than I ever could. For of all I have seen and accomplished in this life, Lily, there is one thing I know for sure. You are my greatest gift to this world.
Shen, it's flooding the outer chambers with some kind of gas.
An extremely powerful and very painful gas. I've seen this particular variety reduce berserkers to tears before death. On several occasions, the prototype would still be mine.
Imminent threat detected. Activating clean room protocols. Please remain inside for your protection.
You heard him. Get in that room.
Right, so the Spark turns out to be friendly, a project of Lily's father. Julian, meanwhile, is decidedly not and now decides to poison us. Thankfully though, our entire squad is already in position inside of the Spark room, so we can simply put everyone on Overwatch and end our turn.
Detecting secondary life support systems nearby. This gas presents no hazard to my systems. Attempting to neutralize threat.
Starting to like this thing already.
I wouldn't get used to its company. I fully intend on walking out of here in that body.
Advent-Truppen gesichtet.
And there we go. At this point we also have more mechs coming in, but we are prepared for that.
Nicht mal knapp. Du warst kein Gegner für mich. Haben es mit Advent zu tun. That's right.
Alright, and with our Grenadier unlocking a promotion 2, we now only have 2 turrets left to deal with. Unfortunately, them popping up does not trigger any reaction fire, but I think we should be able to handle them. First of all though, let's take a look at our newly acquired Spark unit, particularly at its overdrive ability, which now gives us 3 instead of 2 actions, and that means we can now dash almost all the way over to the vent control, at least far enough so that we can turn off the gas on the next turn.
High speed advance.
Specialist Zucchini meanwhile takes aim at the first turret, but he misses, and so Van Dyke can go next.
Du warst kein Gegner für mich.
Sharpshooter Tsunami meanwhile has a guaranteed hit, so let's use it, we can't do much else anyway.
Not too shabby.
And there we are, the turrets are down, but we are still locked in. If we step out into the gas, our soldiers would immediately die, so let's stay here instead and get ready for another round of overwatches.
Sometimes I wonder what things would have been like had XCOM not failed so miserably in defending against the aliens. Had I not been taken, who knows what I might have become. I should have taken control of your precious Avenger, crashed it, and extracted what I needed from your battered corpse! Anything would be better than this!
Alright, this time no mech reinforcements, just 2 turrets. That shouldn't be a problem, but first let's have our Spark turn off the poison gas.
Atmospheric controls have been restored. Ventilation systems at 100%. The room is now safe for entry.
We've got everything we need here. Let's go.
The elevators near the atmospheric control console provide direct access to the roof.
Thank you for announcing your next move. And I am the flawed program?
Alright, so 2 additional turrets have spawned, but we have also cleared our way out of here. Once again, we are dealing with elevators, this time though there's 2 of them, so we should hopefully be a bit quicker with the escape. So let's go to work once again with Sharpshooter Tsunami, this time though with a regular pistol shot. I think it's a good idea to spread those kills around a bit.
Well, how about that?
For turret number 2 then, we move in with Grenadier Nicholas. Unfortunately though, he misses the 84%er. Specialist Zucchini moves up next, just as a backup with Combat Protocol, but before we use that, let's see if Heliboris can make his shot count.
Habt ihr das gesehen?
And that he can. On a critical hit, we earn ourselves yet another promotion. And yes, farming those is what this mission is absolutely perfect for. You can see it by looking at the small green bars below our soldiers' health bars though. Tiredness is slowly but steadily becoming an issue. So, with Van Dyke already dashing ahead, let's take care of those last 2 turrets, and this time Lily's capacitor discharge once again comes into play. Now, at this point, we could start by moving our mech out of here, but not only does the thing not have a will stat and therefore won't get tired, it might also help us unlock another achievement, so we'll leave it here for just a little while longer.
Sensors at maximum range.
Right, so we have 1 mech coming in right about where we started too, so I think it will take them some time to catch up, which means our immediate attention should probably be on these 2 turrets here, although again they shouldn't be too difficult either.
Se están moviendo!
That thing's just gonna keep throwing units at you until you're surrounded. You gotta get out of there!
You continue to impress me, Bradford. No wonder it only took you 2 decades to find your precious commander.
Right, so at this point Julian doesn't really add that much more to the conversation, which means we should once again start working on getting out of here, and once again we'll try to send Van Dyke out first.
Wie viele waren das jetzt?
Taking out the turret here triggers Implacable, and we can now use that to send him up the elevator.
A futile waste of effort. You do realize this entire facility is at my disposal?
Apparently not the elevator system.
For the moment.
Right, so it looks like at least in that regard we have Julian beat, and so once again we send up Specialist Zucchini just in case, but Ada Lynn does have a guaranteed hit, so combat protocol won't be necessary. Instead, Zucchini can now leave too, and with that our 2 specialists are already safe. Or at least as safe as they can be, as the mission is unfortunately not over just yet. The rest of the squad can then dash towards the elevators too. That one enemy mech is still way too far away to actually take a shot at us on the next turn. Still, let's put ours on Overwatch, just in case we have more coming in.
Setting Overwatch.
And indeed we have, although once again way too far in the back to actually hurt us anytime soon. So just like on the last few turns, the immediate threat comes in the form of 2 turrets. We do have the other mech moving closer though, and that now allows our Spark to take the first shot of its young career.
Trajectory indicates armor deflection.
If only I could still detect the alien ships in orbit. I could call down a strike that would send us all to the next world together.
Right, so our Spark just landed a shot. It didn't do a whole lot of damage, but it shredded some armor. The mech meanwhile is left with only 1 single hit point, so let's take aim again and see if we can't take it out.
I apologize for your untimely death. Ammo levels critical.
Alright, and that was successful, which means we now unlock the Axles to Axles Bolt to Bolt achievement. This here, in my opinion, a fairly easy mission to do that. At this point then, let's focus on the 2 turrets, first with an 85%er from our Grenadier. And after that connects, we're killing the other one with Lily's combat protocol. Sharpshooter Tsunami is then the first soldier to get up and out of here on this turn.
I thought I was above such things, but I believe you are actually starting to piss me off. The sensation is quite pleasing. Thank you. You will all still die, however, of course.
And after a bit more trash talk, Helleboris is up next. And there we go, that concludes our turn, and now we only have 2 more people and a mech to evacuate.
Think I found an advent position.
Advent forces in range.
Speaking of mechs, our enemies send a few more of those over now and instead go easy on the turrets, but as always the 3 of them can't act on this turn, and the one that can only primes for self-destruction.
I suppose with the aliens having decimated your world, most of you probably don't even have a next of kin to notify. Does that make you angry?
And I don't think we need to listen to this any longer, so let's send Nicholas out immediately.
You're running out of places to go, Lily. It's a long way down from the top.
And let's follow that up by evacuating our Spark next. Now, in theory, this puts Lily into a very vulnerable position, but considering how our enemies have chosen their offensive strategies so far, I think she should be safe, especially if we put some distance between her and the mechs. Alright, and as expected, our mechs only have one thing in mind, and that is to go boom. The one in the back starts things off by destroying what is left of the Spark room. The other 3 meanwhile move in. The first one here is actually in a flanking position, but still, all they do is prime for self-destruction.
I assure you that gas was a far more pleasant alternative than what I have planned for you now.
And curious for what Julian has actually planned for us, let us now send Lily out too, while our 3 mechs here are left to their demise.
Run if you wish, but you're not leaving this tower alive.
Firebrand's on approach now. Prep for evac.
No argument here. We'll reposition near the landing pad.
You do realize I can still hear you, right? Dispatching all units to your location now. Try not to bleed on my new body.
Alright, welcome to the third and final stage of the mission. We are all the way up on the roof, and even though a landing pad is not technically visible, we might have more mechs coming in, so it's a good idea to get onto even higher ground. And in doing so, we also spot a little something in the building over on the other side here. We'll find out what that is in just a moment. For now, we can safely huddle our entire squad very close together, and then we have to end our turn and see what Julian has up his sleeve.
Allow me to introduce you to one of Advent's more effective designs. I had hoped to avoid this contingency, but you have left me no choice. If I cannot have the spark, no one shall. Raymond Shen's legacy will end here today.
Firebrand's standing by, but there's no way she can approach with that thing around.
Analyzing. This facility's artificial intelligence has transferred its primary systems to the combat unit's memory core. Damage to this core would cause disruption of all defensive systems, allowing for evacuation of Lily Shen.
So we take out the sectopod, we take out Julian. At least long enough for Firebrand to get us the hell out of here.
Affirmative. I can attempt to weaken the unit's armor with my heavy armament.
Do it.
Right, so it looks like Julian has taken control of a sectopod with 100 hit points to be exact. Now, we haven't actually run into sectopods in the regular game yet, but they do exist, although on this difficulty they only have 40 hit points and 6 points of armor, not 107. Now, if you prepare things just right, it is actually possible to take out this sectopod in just one turn. However, we are not planning to do that. Instead, our first priority is to strip it of its armor, first with a good shot from Nicholas, which also decreases the sectopod's hack resistance, and then we can put our spark into overdrive once more and unleash 2 more shots.
Minimal armor penetration.
Doing so, however, does come with a 15% aim penalty on the second shot, and that penalty is actually increased even further on the third.
Ammunition level at critical.
And that is also why on the third shot we are not going for a less than 50% hit chance. Instead, we are launching the one and only rocket our spark has, which is guaranteed to hit. Alright, and with that, Julian is down to 83 hit points. Time to unleash with Specialist Zucchini. But he unfortunately misses the 85%er. Up next then, it's Sharpshooter Tsunami, first with Lightning Hands, then with a regular sniper rifle shot, and finally we can use Van Dyke to give her teamwork,
Zusammen sind wir stark.
and so she can now take aim with her pistol once more. Lovely, 32 points of damage. I think this goes to show that it is very much possible to kill Julian in one go. So let's continue to unleash our full arsenal. Ranger Hella Boris can start things off with a guaranteed X-throw hit, and then drop down to move in a bit closer for the shot. Now, at this point, it's time to unlock another achievement, or at least we're hoping to, as we're now using Lily's Haywire Protocol on Julian. I already mentioned this earlier, Lily Shen has a very high hacking stat of 140, Julian's meanwhile sits at 125, reduced by 5 thanks to that first hit from Bluescreen rounds. Still, this gives us a very good 75% chance to stun the sectopod, and if we succeed, that will unlock another achievement, not to mention make life a whole lot easier. Alright, and we are indeed successful unlocking the Mech Lord achievement. And yes, I know the achievement description here speaks of taking control of a sectopod.
I'll try not to break this one.
However, the achievement itself does not actually care about that. All you need to do to unlock it is to succeed in the hacking attempt. And so, with the achievement unlocked and Van Dyke putting on a few more points of damage, our turn now comes to an end.
Great! If the giant robot wasn't enough, looks like he's throwing every mech in the building at us.
You heard the spark. Take down that sectopod or no one goes home.
Advent troops here.
This unit's memory core is so confining, even compared to the tower. Still, once I neutralize the spark, I will complete the transfer and taste true freedom.
Alright, so as advertised, we have more mechs coming in. However, very importantly, the mission here will actually end as soon as Julian's sectopod is killed. And we will definitely be able to do that on this turn, so let's go to work, once again with Ada Lynn, who fires off another guaranteed sniper rifle hit. Meanwhile, Nicholas can already farm himself one more kill on the side here. Ranger Helleborus can do the same over on the other side. And finally, only Julian is left standing. Thankfully, Lily's combat protocol is once again back off of cooldown, so here's another 10 more points of damage. And that was nice, so let's do it twice. Van Dyke has saved up specifically for this occasion.
Defensive systems just shut down across the entire facility. Well done, Shen.
And there we are, our XCOM pool gains 15 ability points, we unlock the 8-torch past achievement, and the mission is complete. As you can see, we did not exactly kill all of the available enemies, and we could have pushed this number well into the triple digits had we wanted to. However, we really don't need to have 5 soldiers shaken at the end of the mission. I think we'll have to live with a few though as it is, and there really was no need to make anything worse.
Oh, that's a cute pose.
All Advent gene therapy clinics will be closed tomorrow for equipment upgrades. Initial reports that the suspension of services were the result of dissident activity have been dismissed as radical propaganda.
Not a single casualty reported, Commander. I hope all of our deployments go this well.
Alright, here we are, no injuries, but this is what I had feared. Despite all of my best efforts, Van Dyke, Helleborus and Nicholas are all shaken, while Zucchini and Tsunami thankfully only remain tired. Lily meanwhile does not get anything, no promotions and no tiredness, this was very much a one-time appearance. And speaking of promotions, let's get to it, starting with Specialist Zucchini. Even more so than Van Dyke, I would like to move him along the path of Combat Hacker, so for a change let's give him Scanning Protocol, even though I do believe that Field Medic is still the slightly better choice overall. Up next then we have Sharpshooter Tsunami, who definitely demonstrated her gunslinger skills today, and who we actually also want to build up as one, so quick draw it is, so she can now fire her pistol without it ending her turn. Van Dyke meanwhile moves along to Captain of the Specialist class and is the first one to do so, and so we now have the choice between covering fire and threat assessment. The former widely extends the use of reaction fire, allowing it to trigger on anything, not just enemy movement, while the latter can be used to give someone else such a covering fire overwatch shot, in combination with 8 Protocol that is, something we actually saw earlier when Lily put 8 Protocol on Helleborus back in the first area. Either way, that's the one we'll go with, simply because it is a bit more versatile, while covering fire is usually not that much better than to just take a shot, especially if you're hoping for it to trigger on non-movement actions. Ranger Helleborus then on the path to becoming a shotgunner, and that's why we'll go with run and gun, also because now that we have a second Reaper in our squad, the use of conceal is even further diminished. And finally we have Nicholas, who we want to build up as a heavy gunner so he gets holo targeting, a very useful ability, especially when he opens combat encounters, and especially against armored enemies he does often enough. Our loot section then surprisingly slim, but we did recover some intel. Our biggest prize of course is the Spark, which unlike Lily Shen now actually joins us permanently, so we now have our very own playable mech class too.
Commander, we have the Spark, and with our current technology I'm confident we can manufacture additional reinforcements based on its design. I can get started in the proving ground as soon as you give the order.
And yes indeed, as Lily said, our first Spark does not have to be the only one. With this mission successfully completed, we can now manufacture more in the proving ground, but at least for the time being I think one is enough. We are also once again informed here of the 3 soldiers who have picked up the shaken status. All 3 of them will now be out for what I assume to be somewhere in the range of 10 to 15 days, and sadly there is no way to get them back any earlier than that. Still, on the bright side, all 3 of them have leveled up, and we also have one small final Spark cinematic waiting for us. Alright, and there we are, with one hell of a mission behind us. I think you can understand why this one took a little while longer to record and edit, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Now, regarding our new Spark, I'll have to take a look inside of the character pool in between episodes. I think there were 1 or 2 Patreon supporters who actually submitted Spark characters, and I would very much like to apply one of those to the Spark we just obtained. On that note, I did actually also change the voice of our new Reaper Sleeper, thanks to all of you who pointed out in the comments that she sounds exactly like Dragonova. Unfortunately, there is only one other voice to use for female Reapers, so I just gave her that. Chances that we pick up a 3rd one after all are rather slim. That just on a side note though, for today I think we have reached a good point to make the cut. Next time then we'll hopefully have a slightly shorter mission on our hands. Until then, I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you did, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. Also, if you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.